welcome to Thruxton for rounds 10, 11 and 12 of the BTCC. Thruxton is the UK's fastest circuit, so proves for some excellent racing. As you can see, we start off the morning here with a pit lane autograph session, so all the drivers are out in front of their garages signing autographs and speaking to fans.
Yeah, so it was a really hot day that day. Sort of the first day of the UK where the sun sort of picked up. It was as well, there wasn't that much space between the garages, so it was really cramped as well. But everyone managed to get the signatures. We'll jump into race 1, or race 10 here. Do you want to just explain what Kyle's doing there?
Yeah, so once the cars leave the garages, they do kind of one lap around the track to keep the tyres warm. Once they get round to their starting position on the grid, the engineers then change the tyres round from one side to the other to make sure that the heat in the tyres is evenly spread. So obviously there's a lot of right-hand bends on some tracks, a lot left on the other, and they change them round so they make sure the heat is evenly distributed between the tyres.
Yeah, cool. So this is just inside one of the garages of the weekend. As I say, comparing these to the other races of the weekends, this is quite a small one, but we have TVs where you can watch the actual race, and then there's the TSL timings as well, where the engineers can view the actual timings there.
Yeah, that's it. They also have obviously their own computers in there taking the specs and everything, the data from the cars live, so they can see anything that's going on. As you can see, they're all standing around watching as the race goes on, cheering on the drivers, making sure everything's running smoothly. Now, unfortunately, with that race, Bobby placed 10th and Dan didn't get a classified finish because of an issue with his car. So what you're seeing here, they're getting out of the cars and they have a quick debrief with the race engineers. So you've got Jamie and Barry there. So Barry joined Team Hard again for 2023. Now he's really popular around the pits. He's a really, really good engineer and has worked with Team Hard and Bobby before and came back.
Yeah, so as you can see there, they're all sort of sharing notes, showing how the car felt during that race, and then they'll try and change a few things for the next race. So it's all about communication and try and get the best out of the car for the weekend. We'll just hear a little Q&A in just a moment with the drivers and the Team Hard hospitality. So we'll jump into that just in a second.
No, that's a positive.
Yeah, I mean, the only way is up, as the famous song goes, right?
Exactly.
Just a quick one, obviously, you come from Guernsey.
No, Jersey.
You come from Jersey. It's not as if it was an entire VIB tent that just heard me make that aggressive mistake, so we're fine.
Yeah, no,
you come from an island away. Talk us through what your kind of build-up looks like for a race weekend, because I've always been a little bit interested, because you've got to jump on a plane, haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah, or I've got a 4-hour boat or 12-hour boat. We always leave on like a Wednesday, Thursday, depending if it's a 4-hour or a 12-hour boat. But apart from that, I work for my dad. We've got a parts business. So I general manage all 22 staff. I think we got. And then apart from that, I do a bit of golf on the side. Coming here, go on a Wednesday or Thursday.
Quite a long week, quite a lot of build-up.
Yeah, massive. It's not like just can go 4 hours down the road. I've got to plan everything, and then the travel and expenses. It's a lot.
Make sure you leave from the right place, not Guernsey. Yeah. Don't want to start from the wrong point. Bobby, mate,
how are we doing?
Very well, thank you.
Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah, good. We're going the right direction, aren't we? After yesterday's qualifying, we know we've got decent pace in the car, so our whole day is about that reverse grid pole in race 3. We're in the mix now. I think it was 10th lap on. So, like I say, we're going the right way. We've just got to get these hard tyres to last a little bit longer.
So you've been racing here for a little while, last kind of 4 or 5-ish years. I was earwigging in the driver's briefing room because I'm a weirdo, and you talked about brakes. Talk to us about how your braking performance was out there.
Touchy subject, brakes, isn't it? between us all drivers.
Is that another faux pas, or have I just completely messed it up? Talk to us about brakes quickly before I annoy Jack.
Well, in terms of brake performance in the car, we've found something huge this year compared to last year, which, although this is the fastest track in the calendar, you also need to stop when you're going pretty fast, so brake performance is huge around here. So yeah, massive step forward, and that's where I feel like we've got the jump in the cars around us actually.
Awesome, thank you. Jade!
Hello.
Hello, you're right.
Yeah, I've just realised I've got a splinter, so I'm having a tough time up here, if I'm honest.
It's just not your day.
By mum.
Hot water.
Is that what it is?
I don't know. If anyone's got any suggestions on how to get a splinter out, see Jade after, please. That'd be lovely. So we've still got a whole day to go, so it's all good. Thoughts, hopes, and prayers when you came into today?
We started, if anyone saw, we had a tough day yesterday, had an overheated hybrid motor in qualifying, lost a load of laps. We started from the back, long story short. So we had nothing to lose, we got a really good start, but we're struggling, we've mentioned before, brakes. We've got a restriction this year with brakes, so the championship has put a restriction on how many brakes you can use, so you have to manage them over a weekend. And for me, I'm just struggling a bit with the bias of just setting that brake system up. But yeah, we then ran wide, and then we ended the race with a puncture in the right rear through Noble, with cars around me, which was terrifying. So not the best start to the day for us, but 2 to go. How exciting! Just can't wait for the next 2 races. But we've got some cars behind us. We know we can get the car off the line, and we're going to move forward. I love this track, so the aim is just to make some places and end on a high.
Why do you love this track?
Because there's no faffy, technical, hairpin stuff. You just shut your eyes, hold on, and hope for the best. Grab your balls. I've said this already, mine are on my top half, not the bottom half. Yeah, I've always loved it. I think it's a circuit that it brings out the brave driver, and the first lap, I'm sure I can speak for everyone, you sort of have to grit your teeth and get used to that pace. It's nothing like everything else we drive this season.
You mentioned being ballsy. What is it specific? I mean, obviously we know it's obviously the quickest track that you visit throughout the calendar. There's not a lot of faffing around, which is always nice. And if your brakes are performing well, then it's kind of a good day at the office. But what is it to us mere mortals who don't really manage to get behind the wheel? What is it that is kind of demands that little bit extra from you as drivers compared to, say, a Snetterton, for example, or something like that?
Yeah, obviously you've got the track is so quick, you wouldn't understand how quick. But I think through Noble we're doing 200k. It's about 100. I think it's 124 mile an hour if you want to be precise.
So precise.
It's only because I looked at it last night.
7 miles per hour.
Yeah, you just any other track you just don't go that quick, and to be able to get these cars to be able to go through these corners as quick as we do, I think is an achievement to the team in itself.
I mean, you made that sound much easier than it probably is.
It definitely isn't.
So Bobby, with the next 2 races coming up, obviously you mentioned there that one of the massive aspects of today is looking on that reverse grid later on. One of the questions that came through from our lovely audience earlier today was, do you prefer kind of leading the pack or do you prefer chasing? Which I think is particularly poignant with what happened out there, because you were stuck behind Mr. Taylor Smith.
Taylor Swift, she's done well for herself. Change your career. Don't fancy Aaron singing though. No,
You've never been in the shower with him, mate. He's really quite a good singer.
Round here, has it been so fast? The actual speed itself is not too much the issue, but it's how quick you run out of road. How quick the exits come up to you. So the actual speed's okay, but how quick that exit of the track comes up, that's when it gets scary when you run out of road at that speed. Following a train like we had there in race 1, that's not great for the tyres. Just having it helps you in a straight line, getting a toe, but I'm turning this into a boring one now.
It is a bit.
The air that comes off that car doesn't make my car feel that great in a long train. So yeah, it's all about utilising those first 5 laps and getting as best position you can and trying not to be at the back of the pack in those first 5 laps. Then you've got the best car and the best tyre you have for the rest of the race.
Is that what you're going to do, splinterless? Kind of.
If I don't do well in race 2, I am going to blame the splinter. I think. But yeah, I think as Bobby was saying, at some point in the race, we are all, not just our cars, the grid is going to get understeer. So you want to try and minimise that as best you can, but also you want to get it a lap or 2 later than everyone else. So it's all about managing that front left, especially, but just your tyres in general. I mean, there's a reason this circuit only uses the hard tyre. It's so abrasive. It wants to go through tyres quickly, so it's all a case of just managing it as best you can. But the racing driver in us wants to, always go for the gap and race, but sometimes it does you well to just sit tight for 5 laps, let everyone else use their tyres, and then you've got strong tyres towards the end of the race.
Less racing, more chess kind of situation.
Exactly, tactical.
You like that one? Awesome. So, like I mentioned earlier, we do have some quick-fire questions that have come in from our audience today. I had to learn to read really quickly. And the first one's for you, Jade. What is your favourite corner or section on the entire BTCC calendar?
It is actually here. It's the Noble Goodwood, because there's every fibre in your body. Like Bobby was saying, it's not the speed. If you got us to drive at 130 odd miles an hour, we'd all happily do that. It's the fact that you're doing it through a corner and there's margins for error. If you drop a wheel on the grass, I don't know if you guys do it, but there's times where every fibre in your body's like, don't put the power down. It's just a silly thing to do. But logically with a race car, especially front wheel drive, you need to put the power down to create that, pull through the corner. And I quite like that. It's sort of scary, So the Noble Goodwood section, and when you get it right and you're getting a slipstream on another car, it's a really cool feeling. And you go home, on the Sunday, fairly sort of mentally tired because you've had to really stay concentrated all day because this circuit doesn't let you have any mistakes really.
Bit of a tough taskmaster, Thruxton, essentially. Jack, we mentioned there obviously that your travel is something that you need to consider because you've got to go floating across the ocean. But what else do you do to prepare for a race weekend?
So yeah, like I said before, I work for my dad, run the company and everything like that, and then on the side I maybe play a little bit of golf when I should be working. But yeah, apart from that, I'm
You said yesterday that you play golf and do a little bit of work for your dad.
Yeah, but my dad's standing at the back, so I can't say that.
Busted.
No, to be fair, I do bust my ass when I'm at work. But yeah, then having enjoyment.
I mean, the nervous glances. I do bust my bum. I work really hard.
Yeah. Well, he's been off for the last 6 months. I've had an easy life, but now he's come back and he got that.
Stop digging. It's impressive.
I've got some words when I get back and
I'm not impressed with that there. There's a nod of acknowledgement there. And then Bobby, finally, how does your training regime change once the once the season starts? Because you are a specimen, kind of 9 months out of the year anyway, aren't you? But what do you do to make sure the gun show continues?
There's not much of that going on anymore. No, I've actually focused on losing some weight this year.
We noticed, didn't we?
Cheers, guys. Last year I was carrying a bit more timber, and when you get to you don't notice it so much when it's a little bit cooler in the pre-season testing, and you come here 3 races in a day and everything that goes with it, carrying a bit more timber. It's like wearing a coat in the car. So as least fat as I can have is good. Yeah, and just. Boring stuff, cardio, I hate it. I hate every minute of it, but I've got to do it.
Do you think it's working for you, yeah?
Don't know, you tell me. Am I looking good?
Is he looking good, everybody?
That was silent.
That was so quiet. Kind of regret making that happen, if I'm being brutally honest.
Thanks for picking that card as well, that was really nice of you.
the questions that land. What can I do? But thank you very much for being so open and honest. I hope the sprinter kind of sorts itself out. I hope the timber completes and you continue to lose it. And Jack, yes, I'm really sorry for getting your home wrong. That was really bad. Round of applause, everybody, please. For
So that was the end of the first part of the drivers Q&A. Hope you enjoyed that with Stuart. So it's back out onto the grid for race 2 or round 11 if you're following the season rounds. So we've got the engineers out on track at the moment, still checking all the data from their cars as they've had their lap around, ready to get the tyres changed over. Everything's checked double. As you can see, they're chatting with Dan there just to make sure everything's okay. So as the race progressed, unfortunately Bobby had an early retirement due to a stone bouncing up and damaging the radiator. So his day was actually called early there because they were unable to get it fixed in time for round 3.
So yeah, we're going to jump into the second Q&A of the day with Dan, Dexter and Hamilton.
We really felt like we should be in the top 10, and it was definitely the best the cars felt all season. Instead of making drastic setup changes, we were just tweaking, which was nice. And then today, something's just amiss. There was a bit of a mistake with the setup in the first race. A failure with a sensor on the engine, which made my throttle stick at the end of the straight, which was pretty nerve-wracking. It was lucky not to have a big shunt. We fixed that for this one, weren't quite drastic with the setup change for race 2. The car felt much better, but for only like 8 laps. So we went from, I think, second to last on the grid up to like P16, which was a good effort, but then the front left just died a death. And then, unfortunately, we got a track limits penalty for taking a bit too much curve at the chicane, which is unfortunate. But to get from the back of the grid up to 16th was decent. We just need to make another bit of a drastic change for the third race to try and make that good pace last throughout instead of just the first 8 laps. So it's frustrating because all the ingredients is there, and it's not too bad. We just haven't got it right today. That's all.
One more to get it right. It's going to be good.
More. Yeah, we'll give it a third cut. Yeah.
And Dex, obviously last year you were here and you were being driven through the rear wheels.
Yep.
Glad I got that bit right. That would have been embarrassing. How have you found it today? Obviously, first time round in the Cooper.
Yeah, no, it's different coming from rear-wheel drive. I guess if you look at last year, we came here twice. It's my first sort of time round here last year. But it's very different to anywhere else we go. It's mega fast at the back, but it's good fun. And actually say I probably prefer it in a front-wheel drive. You can get a bit of a slide on and it doesn't put you back on the wall. You can sort of hang on to it a bit better. But yeah, just in terms of today, I guess yesterday we didn't have a sort of ideal qualifying. The pace was there for where we are now in the sort of top 15, but we just didn't really get a decent lap out it, sort of with like red flags and that sort of thing. But that race was not bad. We got into the points there, but we still got a lot of work to do to try and go forward a bit more.
Not a bad effort though, was it, really?
One more, but.
A round of applause for Nick Hamilton. You've got a microphone. Hi mate.
Nice too.
How you doing? You right? Yeah. How's your day been so far? It's looking good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of Thruxton. Never have been, never will be.
But tell us how you really feel. Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, I'm just being honest and open. Yeah, I struggle here. It's like classes is my bogey track. So just trying to develop throughout the day. We've been on the back foot all year because we haven't done any testing at all pre-season. And I've got different things in my car that other drivers like the servo brake and that sort of stuff. So I'm realising with every track that I go to, you need a different setting for the servo and all sorts. So I'm learning and changing settings every lap at the moment. And so it's a bit of a pain in the bum because you wish you just had a car and a setup, so absolutely everything just to chuck on and go. It takes us all day on a Sunday to develop the car. So, it's a positive step. I think the team are working hard. They always do it, team hard. The drivers we got on super well. We learn from each other. So yeah, a decent day, but you still want a lot more.
Is there a little secret for race 3? Is there any kind of changes you think you're going to apply to the car? What's he say?
Yeah, so I don't really like an oversteering car, especially around Thruxton. But there's a compromise. We have a safe car and struggle with getting understeer, so at the moment we're struggling with a lot of slow speed understeer, so we're trying to dial that out. But just continue moving forward and trying to just get faster, be more consistent, get to a point where consistency is great service, and then when we get to Oulton Park, we have a bit more of an idea of where to sit. I want more, especially after my P6 at Oulton. I don't know if anybody's heard about that.
Have we all heard about that?
Since then, it just made me super hungry, and so I always say any day in the touring car is an amazing day. You always want more, that's why we're here.
Amazing, thank you, Nick. Now just take it away from the racing a little bit. Mr. Lloyd, have we all watched Dan's videos?
Yeah.
Do you want to plug? Where do people go to watch your vlogs?
I do a YouTube channel where I just cover behind the scenes, which is sometimes really fun to do, but on days like this I hate it because you've got to do it when you're having a bad day as well as a good day. But it allows people to see what's going on behind the scenes and can see the really shit hotels that my mum and dad stay at and the food.
Motorsport thing.
Yeah. So a little bit of everything, but obviously it gives sponsors a nice little bit of mention as well. It helps with the following and your fan base and all the rest of it. Even though no one queued up to see me and Bobby this morning at all. There was a queue a mile long to see Nick. There was a queue a mile long to see Jade. And me and Bobby were just sat in the middle, like just chilling out. It's quite nice actually. So yeah.
But has it made quite a big difference for you and obviously the support team? We're talking about what a difference partners and sponsors make to the sport and the team in general. Can you feel that impact, and could you do more?
I think with YouTube, it's really difficult. YouTube, it takes years and years to. It's like a snowball effect. At the beginning, it's really slow. And what I need to do now is try to do a little bit more generic stuff rather than just British Touring Car weekends, because you're only just going to go to the touring car fans. But at some point I'll do something different, but life's a bit chaos. Only fans, yeah. Different type of people.
Quite like pools, but only fans, I mean.
At least I might earn a bit of money from that. It's
confidence there.
Wishful thinking, yeah. But yeah, it's good. It's good.
Awesome, thank you. And Dex, so we asked everybody, and thank you very much again for filling out your Q&A cards. It makes my job easier, and obviously I'm terrible, so I really appreciate it. But this was from Larissa for you, Dex. Besides the BTCC, that's what you're racing in at the moment, what other championship would you like to contend in or participate in?
I think, apart from here, the best things to watch is the Aussie Supercars. That's pretty mega. I'm quite really watching that. But before I came into touring cars, I could watch an F1 race, no bother, but now I just get bored. So, I quite like watching the Supercars and even something like Le Mans. That's pretty different, but I'd like to give something like that a go as well.
Amazing, thank you. Le Mans would be cracking, wouldn't it?
I know, I might fall asleep. Quite long.
You share the driver, you'll be fine.
Yeah,
you'll be fine. And Dan, have you ever sneezed whilst racing? Which I genuinely thought was actually quite a good question, to be fair.
No, but I had a bit of wind before I got in the car for the second race. I didn't sneeze. No, I don't think I ever had. Probably most of the stuff, but never sneezed.
Cool. That's answered that one. And then Nick, apart from your driving, do you have a day job or a hobby? And I'm actually going to just expand on that because you're now a podcaster as well, aren't you?
I will be. Not yet. I'm currently, so away from my racing, it's all about building my brand and my legacy, I would say, outside of motorsport. Trying to do a lot of work through disability in sport, trying to inspire as many people as I can with both disabled or able-bodied people. So alongside of my racing, I do a lot of public speaking. So I get to travel around the world, speaking for different companies. at different different events. It was motivational speaking. Did a lot of brand activity, brand work. Actually, I was in Vogue this last month, and I'm writing my first book at the moment. And yeah, now I'm working with one of others to do a podcast. So just trying to do loads of different things around motorsport, because I'm not going to be racing forever, but also everything that I do outside of motorsport helps me with motorsport and makes it more valuable to partners and sponsors. But I also know that there's more I can do outside of motorsport to have a stronger impact and share my voice and inspire as many people as I can at the same time.
That is an awfully long and impressive list. No, positive. That's amazing. Guys, thank you very, very much. Everybody, round of applause.
So that was the second Q&A of the day. Hope you enjoyed that one. So we're running into race 3 of the day now, or round 12. So that's Butel pulling up and getting ready to go there. Again, chatting with the engineers, making sure everything's okay. As well, Adam, if you want to jump into this one and just explain what they're doing with the tape on the left-hand side there.
Yeah, so each driver has to maintain within the box on the grid. If they go over, they'll get a penalty. Obviously, you don't want to be too far behind. So the drivers each have a strip of tape placed directly in their eye line and line it up with a section of the car, so that each time they come around the track and line up, they know they're in the exact place and they're not over the line.
Yeah. So we're jumping in here into the garages again. This is Dan's garage here. Race 3 ended with Bob. Obviously, Bobby didn't start this race, and Dan ended up in P18 that race. So he did fight back a few places. Overall, probably a weekend we probably forget.
Yeah, it didn't go as well as planned for Bobby or Dan. So yeah, I think it'll be one they'd like to forget, but it gives obviously more information, more data to work on and push forward.
Yeah, and next race is obviously Oulton Park, which is on Father's Day. We'll be down there making sure we're filming all the behind the scenes again. So obviously if you guys want to see anything else, if there's anything else specifically that you want to ask the drivers or we want to run through, just let us know in the comments, and we'll try and do our best to get whatever you want us to get.
Yeah, so thank you for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe to the videos if you're enjoying these. And like Reece says, drop your comments down below. We can ask your questions, hopefully during the drivers Q&A as well.
Yeah, so we'll see you in Oulton.
Goodbye.